But do you think there's a lot less psyops and there's just a lot more, again, incompetency, mistakes, human error, confusion, chaos?
But how do you accidentally swear under oath that aliens exist?
Well, I don't think did he actually say that? He just kind of...
In the context of the conversation, you can make two conclusions. He's lying to us or he's saying aliens exist. The way he phrased it, I lean towards lying to us. But it's either that or he's literally... There's no honest way he's claiming a dog was found in a satellite. Or mold was found in a module that was in space. He was asked about non-human pilots and says, yes, we've recovered them. How do you accidentally lie about that?
I don't know. No.
You either intentionally lie.
Oh yeah, maybe he thought he was telling the truth. Like Bob Lazar, I think he really thought he was telling the truth because they brought him into a room with 9 drones and they put a puppet of a green alien in one of them in the seat, and he remembers seeing that. And then they probably had some wild metamaterial that was vibrating so fast you couldn't physically touch it because it was creating force. And he was like, oh, because he remembers that part of it. I believe that's something about it. And then he just
got his hand on a window.
Yeah, and then they get him to go tell everyone that it was, and then they tell him it was from Zeta Reticuli. They feed him some nonsense so that if he ever does go public, he'll feed the public some nonsense.
Yeah,
he'll look
that
like
too.
And so this guy could be similar, or he could have been just lying.
Think about how they compartmentalized the Manhattan Project. Nobody knew what they were working on, right? So you bring these guys in, and you're building some kind of technology, and let's say it's not even anti-grav or force field or alien tech or whatever. Let's just say it's a metamaterial that's lightweight and very, very dense, very useful, heat resistant, can deflect bullets.
A Cermat or something. That's a type of metamaterial.
You don't want this guy whose job is to file paperwork to know how you make it in the event he leaks things. So what do you say? Aliens.
Here's a question. What would aliens think of us if they showed up on Earth?
I don't know. What do we think of cows, chickens?
Well, I don't know if that's even the question because bringing it back to children
chickens.
And how we treat children, there's estimates that we kill about 50 million preborn children globally. Tens of millions of preborn children.
But you have to
so
understand.
We kill our young. So what would they think about that?
Yeah, but when
We're
you
a species that kill our young.
When you talk about that, you have to acknowledge that the people that are actually having abortions, they don't conceptualize it as killing. They just don't. Like I know that you do. A lot of people that are listening do. People that are pro-choice don't consider it killing. That's why they can do.
That's people who get abortions and people who are pro-choice are two different things.
Fair enough. Okay, people that are pro-choice do not consider it generally, and this is a generalization, but people that are pro-choice don't consider it killing at all. They consider it a medical procedure, and that's why they want to control the argument the way they do.
I think that's pro-abortion people. I think the traditional pro-choice,
like I said, that
overwhelmingly does. Many of them do think it is killing.
Fine, but the point that I'm making is the people that find pro-abortion, because most people aren't pro-abortion. Fine, fair enough. But
no. Most of the left is pro-abortion, but most people aren't.
I think there's a variety. There's a lot of different reasons, and there's a lot of different beliefs around it about whether or not I'm actually killing someone. Is it a someone? Am I just going to put my head in the sand? But back to the aliens question. The fact is, we are killing as a society globally.
I don't know how aliens
tens of millions of people.
Look, we got too many chickens in Chicken City, so we got to stop having more of them. They sometimes make more of themselves. Mostly we incubate. So now we're probably going to give some away or something like that, or just move them to new locations. But we have too many. So
they'd see us as the lower life form is what you're saying. Because
no, not necessarily. I mean, they would just be like, I think it would be a neutral question. They'd say, it is. They're culling. They're self-culling. You know what I mean? The same as they cull any other species, they cull themselves.
And humans I think a lot about the barbarism of humans. Like in order to survive, we have to kill. We have to destroy another animal or another plant.
And steal its energy.
Yeah, we have to destroy and consume the thing. Actually kill things to consume them. And like how horrific for an alien that didn't, if an alien just subsisted off of light and that was how they got their energy, they would look at us like the most horrific, evil creatures. But if they also consumed and destroyed to live, they'd probably look at us as equals and be very concerned that there would be a war. So like, I don't know, if I came upon a species that just annihilated everything in its path to survive, I'd think of it as a disease.
I think,
and not that humans do everything in their path. That's hyperbole, but the fact that we have to kill to survive.
And there's a big difference between killing a chicken, to eat the chicken, than killing a human being. I mean, right?
It is very likely that their technology, I would say it's the likelihood is 100%, that there exists technologies that we do not have access to simply by the nature of the chemical composition of our planet. It's possible that if aliens exist, they came to exist on a planet that had more oxygen or less nitrogen or something like that, resulting in a different path towards technology. They come to this Earth and they're like, whoa, this is very, very weird. The aliens could be squid-like. They could be giant balls of gas. They could, or, like a thin membrane or something. And we exist the way we are based on the chemical composition of the planet.
Salt water.
There is an interesting argument that alien life will be nearly identical to humans in that the evolution of the eye, based on what we think we know, independently occurred in a bunch of different species for the same reasons. Light sensitivity of cells, and then there was a higher rate of success with a certain shape of certain cells, and eventually the eye forms. I watched this really amazing documentary on it. It may be the case that if we do encounter aliens, they will be very, very, very human-like. They will breathe a similar atmosphere. Why? The oxygen level of our atmosphere is perfect for fire, which you can use to separate elements. And at the basis level, we make metals. But eventually we got to the point where we're synthesizing.
Also cooking food and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, cooking food, more efficient production. But look at dolphins.
This is the argument that I find compelling as well, that the
aliens
forms
might be like human.
Yeah, that the forms that have inhabited Earth are the likely forms that life tends to make, considering the conditions in the universe.
No, but not tends to make, but would succeed in terms of technological advancement.
Thumbs.
Dolphins.
Opposable thumbs.
Very, very smart, they say.
Yep.
Big brains. But they will never smelt because they're underwater and they can't go
Some
out
dolphins
of the water.
listening to this show right now, they're like, you son of a bitch.
Like, I wish I had hands, I'd show him. But you can't, sorry. Can't do it.
Can't
and
smoke
whales,
cigarettes either.
Big brains, super smart. They can probably perceive things we can't. They definitely can with sounds and all that. But they're not going to start a fire. So that's all they'll ever be. But we are in this oxygen-rich environment. Oxygen actually destroys cells, oxidization. And we've evolved to be able to exist here, and we make fire, and then we throw stuff in it, and then that stuff melts, and we separate things, and then we extract chemicals and hormones, and now we have computers and rockets synthesizing fuels and all that stuff.
My big concern is if aliens do exist and they show up and they don't just immediately kill us, I don't think that will happen. But if they did show up, we would not do a good job, or we would really struggle, humanity at large right now, with how to treat them in an ethical way. Because I think our bioethics, generally speaking today, especially in the Western world, especially in America, are very broken. And you look at reproductive technologies as an example, and cloning, right? And the ability to clone, and the question of, can you create a clone of yourself and then take their organs? How do you treat a cloned embryo? How do you treat embryos that are being used for research? There's all of these ethical questions that we're not getting right.
Do you think
we're practicing the wrong thing? We're killing human beings.
Do you think clones have souls?
Absolutely. If they're an individual human, absolutely.
It's like a different soul from you. Like if someone cloned you, it'd be like a different soul.
Well, I mean, identical twins have different souls, but they're biologically identical.
I just tweeted out a video of a nano machine taking a sperm and impregnating an egg with it, and the sperm's just like laying there. And I'm like, we have so many lazy people already. We don't need to take the lazy sperm and make new lazy. It's crazy. But how do you think, Lila, how do we solve for this bioethical problem where we're killing young people? Because it's like a resource struggle, I feel like. If people don't, without the resources, we can't support the young. We've always had to leave the weak and suffering behind in the tribal life and things like that because you can't support it. And it does terrify me that they're impregnating eggs with weak sperm. But how do you...
Well, it's funny with the resource thing, just to touch that for a second. We have more resources than we've ever had in arguably human history, and we have the technology to have more people and support more people as a planet than in human history. And all the predictions about, the universe is, the world can't handle more humans, the Malthusian ideology of we're going to have to kill people off because we can't feed the world. That's not come true, because as human beings have grown and populated the earth, our technologies have our mastery of the world has. But anyway, separate from that, though, I think the big question is, what's the correct way we treat each other? Do humans have human rights? And if we have human rights, what are they? And I think most people, I don't know your guys' position, but I think many people today would say, yes, we have human rights. Even the United Nations says there's human rights. And so
the question isn't whether or not we have human rights. It's where is the line? What is a human right and what is not?
Right, exactly. But I think most people would agree that the right to not be killed is a fundamental human right, because if you don't have that, you can't have any other rights, right? And that is the pro-life case in a nutshell. If you're a human, you have human rights, and the first human right is not to be killed. Similarly, our Declaration of Independence, we're endowed by our Creator. So we're created, they're not given to us by each other. We get them from on high. We are endowed with these inalienable rights, and the first of them is life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, right? So life comes first, and all humans have that right, whether you're born or pre-born. It doesn't matter. You're a human, you have that right.
I don't believe there is a way that you can ever really win this battle. And the reason is these
aliens,
pro-abortion individuals are desperately trying to remove themselves from the gene pool, but you are desperately trying to save them. This conflict will result in more and more leftist ideologies, pro-abortion ideologies emerging. In our current system, this means that they can vote, and they will vote for policies that allow them to terminate themselves from the gene pool. Ultimately, then, they will reduce. The pro-life element and conservatives will just have more influence and more children. But then they will stop abortions. That once they have the authority, they'll say, abortion's done. Which means the remaining pro-abortion people will have more and more kids. And those kids will hold the ideology of pro-abortion until they get too many. Then they'll vote for abortion and kill themselves again. Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.